One question our readers want to know, how does a restaurant get considered for the BNR list?
I would feel like it's more like The Bachelor or Bachelorette. Like when you give a rose. In the early days, they give a rose. They're probably just roses, like, yeah, you're giving roses because like, oh, that person has a nice smile. Like they're not the first rose ceremony thinking like, this is marriage material.
Every crush comes to a fork in the road. You either learn more about that person and the crush dissipates, or you fall in love with them. And I think of the pipeline that you're describing as like hit list, you're crushing, and then when comes time to learn more about them, you have to decide which direction you're going.
You know, the first 2 visits, you're feeling them out. The third visit, you know what the place is. And maybe you're in love.
Maybe you're in love.
I'm Brian Kim, editorial lead in NYC for Infatuation, and I was voted best dressed in high school.
Hi, I'm Hannah Albertine, senior editor at Infatuation. The best bathroom in Philadelphia is at Doom Bar. It's not nice, but it's great.
And this is Restaurant People, a show for people who eat at restaurants sometimes from Infatuation. Today's episode of Restaurant People is all about Infatuation's best new restaurants.
That's right. By the time you listen to this episode, our 2025 guides to the best new restaurants around the country will be live and ready for you to disagree with.
And we want to talk about what goes into putting together those guides, because the process takes roughly 10 months and legitimately hundreds of visits. How do our writers and editors narrow down all the new restaurants in their cities into a short list of their favorites?
We've got Candis McLean in the studio. She's our senior staff writer in Philly and one of my absolute favorite people to talk about restaurants with.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. I want to hear all about the restaurant scene in Philly, and I also want to know your least favorite meal of the year.
As long as you tell me yours.
Deal. All this and more on Restaurant People, a show from Infatuation. I decided to put on a tuxedo for this episode. A, because it's the last of the season.
Yeah.
B,
yeah,
because it's the best new restaurants episode, best new restaurants of 2025. C, because I feel like half of my acquaintances only see me at weddings, and this way they'll recognize me on YouTube.
The best new restaurants, Brian, it's sort of like our Oscars.
It's not sort of like our Oscars, it is our Oscars.
Thank you for that live edit. I needed that.
The best new restaurants of the year. Yeah, it comes out every year, our official lists across all cities. So our best new restaurants list is a list of 7 to 15 restaurants, typically that are the highest rated in each city that we cover. And when I say highest rated, that means that they're the restaurants that we like the most fun, the best new additions to the city that year. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, it's a year's worth of work. This is lists that are put together, but they're really just collections of reviews that we've written over the past few months. And any restaurant that opens technically from October of the year prior, so in this case, it's October of 2024 to September of 2025 is eligible. And it's a collection of the highest ratings of the new restaurants of the year.
Yeah, it's generally a minimum of 8.0, but we usually have so many restaurants that are in the high 8 to mid 9, even high 9 range. Some of the places that I put on the list of the best restaurants in New York City, you can get a meal for like under $10.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that really sets us apart.
It's always BNR season.
It is always BNR season. You know why they say that?
Why?
Because we have to check out new restaurants. We don't have to. We get to.
We get to.
All year long, and we're always keeping track of, could this be a best new restaurant at the end of the year, right? We have to keep this running list. We don't want to lose any because we write about so many restaurants. So we have a spreadsheet going. It's always BNR season. We're always keeping that spreadsheet going with these restaurants that we love. Am I allowed to reveal right now?
Yeah, because I think by the time this episode comes out, the lists will be live.
All right, let's count them off. 4 of them just from this year's best new restaurants list in New York City that made it, were so good, they made it onto the 25 best restaurants in New York City. Smithereens. We have Bridges.
Yep.
Then we have Bong.
Yep.
And then, can you guess the 4th? You've been there. You've been there. You've talked about it. I heard you talk about it today.
Really?
Lower East Side. Small.
What is it?
Hard to get into. The staff are really cool.
What?
Oh my gosh, it's Ha's Snack Bar.
Oh, sorry.
So that's 4 right there.
Yeah.
And so all of these restaurants, they make it onto the list, not just because we're like, oh, it's good, we should put it on there, but because it has to be on there because it's rated so high.
Yeah.
They're the top rated restaurants in the market. So they get on the list because of their rating. Yeah. Sometimes we will adjust the rating at the end of the year, and that's not an arbitrary thing. It's not something we do on a whim. It's because we went and we checked back into the restaurant and we said this should actually be rated higher or it should be rated lower. Sometimes that will happen, and restaurants will fall off the tentative best new restaurants list, and then others will move up.
Yes, because theoretically, the rating should reflect our most recent experience at a place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're visiting these restaurants various times over the course of the year, ideally.
And ultimately, the rating just reflects how excited we are about a place. That's like the simplest way to think about the ratings. How excited are we?
We were talking about this before, and you kind of gave me this. I think there's this BNR feeling that exists.
Hannah, can you tell me about this BNR feeling that you keep talking about?
Yeah, it's butterflies in your basket. It's a whooshing river of thrill. You go to a place like Santo Taco or Bon on M. Both are in New York City. Both restaurants we went to together. And you're like, wait a minute. I think everyone in my life needs to come here in the next week. I'm thrilled about this place. I know you're going to love it. I want those who I care about to have this experience. I am not even sure it's going to be the place that I talk about a year from now. Most of the time it's not. But it's like, it's leaning into recency bias. It's like, wow, I really, really feel like this restaurant is nailing exactly what they've set out to do. And that can be a taqueria where you do not sit down, or a restaurant that has like lunch and dinner and the lines out the door.
I absolutely get it now. I know what you're talking about. You go to a restaurant and then you're like, damn, when you're walking out the door.
You're like, they did it. One thing I remember from when we worked together on the Infatuation New York team is there would always be one restaurant, maybe two every year, that either by happenstance or very much intentionally, everyone on the team will have gone like a couple of times. And so everyone has very strong feelings about it. Maybe there's a place where like people collectively we've been 20 times.
This year in New York City, that restaurant is Bong.
Bong.
B-O-N-G, a Cambodian restaurant in Crown Heights. It's tiny. It's very charming. We've talked about it on the podcast before. And I feel like everybody in the New York City office has been there. We've been there like 30 times, 40 times collectively, which is wild because reservations are now very hard to come by. And fortunately, everybody loves Bong. Which is really rare.
There's no disagreements about Bong.
So rare. Usually people will disagree, if not to the writer's face, then behind their back at the very least. Yeah, we will. At the Infatuation, we love to talk about ratings behind people's backs.
Sure. What about a restaurant in New York this year people don't totally agree on?
I'm going to go with Bridges here.
Oh.
Bridges is on our best new restaurants list this year. I think it absolutely deserves to be there. I just don't know if I would put it where it is right now.
In terms of rating?
In terms of rating, which then dictates the order it's in on the list. And our list is ranked this year. Yeah. It's ranked every year. We're just like putting numbers by it this year. And I think it's number 2 or 3. And it's not my personal 2 or 3 of the year. It's very French wine bar food, which I am a little fatigued by at this point in my eating career.
I'm going to disagree with you, my friend. I don't think Bridges is straight French wine bar food.
I guess it's also British wine bar food.
Hello, nuance.
Yeah.
You wouldn't rate it what it's rated. And that's okay. That's great.
And that's okay. But the thing is, when we have these disagreements, if they're serious, we will actually like go as a team back to this place and we'll be like, okay, should it actually be rated this? Should it be on the BNR list?
Yes.
This is a minor disagreement. And when it's a minor disagreement, I'll just give the writer the benefit of the doubt, right?
Well, they're the one who did the research, went several times when they were writing the review.
Yeah.
I get it.
Give the writer the benefit of the doubt, respect their opinion. At the end of the day, it's all subjective. So we only covered the basics, right?
Yeah.
With best new restaurants. I could try to just talk straight for the next hour.
Oh,
but
God.
instead of doing that, we can bring in a writer from another city, right? Someone to bring a perspective from that city, a city you know
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
City of brotherly love and sisterly affection. You ever heard it called that?
Rowdy sports crowds,
I
right?
know. They're so rowdy. And also, we can ask her some questions about how the heck she put together her list and how it works for her.
Get a little behind the scenes.
We are so lucky to have Candis McLean, senior staff writer in Philadelphia, in the studio with us today.
Candis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Go Birds. I love your understated outfits.
Well, let's
you.
back up a sec. No, go Birds.
Go
We're
Birds.
in New York City right now.
You can't say go birds?
No.
No, go birds is like shalom. Or,
Yeah, it's like saying
or
hi.
Like aloha.
Philadelphia it is.
No, it's just like end with you and hello.
Are we not
You know what
like
I mean?
We don't need
We're
to get
not
into this right now.
I-95
This is going to
cousins.
derail
We're
the
I-
conversation. We don't have to get into this right now.
I-95 Cousins is very cute.
There we go.
That's generous.
Candice, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm hyped to talk to you about the best new restaurants in Philadelphia. Do you want to tell me about what were your favorite new restaurants in Philadelphia this year?
I love Babies, a Filipino place. It's in Brewerytown, which you don't know, but it's a great little neighborhood. I love that it takes you from like day to night. I go there, I have strawberry donuts, pandan cookies. I'll have a little cucumber lemonade. Then I'll have the lechon. I'll have an entire Filipino feast later on, like adobo chicken. And so it kind of works because I'm very, I like it's hype and like really great music playlist too, by the way. Tasted Dhaka, the first like Bangladeshi restaurant in Philly.
Yeah.
And I also went to Sal, it's a big opening because it's the sister restaurant of Mon. I love Mon because I have an obsession with shrimp. And they have this
Oh my God, they're soft shell shrimp.
Yeah. Like
You would freak out, Brian.
Oh, I'm a big shrimp boy.
Yeah.
Yes. And they had the shrimp on the menu at Sal.
Yes.
I did not do it because I was like, if I do that, I'm going to be so tunnel
you're gonna be on a
visioned.
different
And you know, you
level.
have to, when you're working, you have to do the whole menu.
Sao is a Cambodian, but just largely Southeast Asian restaurant that focuses on like raw bar and oysters. They're, as Candace said, they're the sister location of a restaurant called Mon, which is, in addition to being loved by Candace and Allison, the Philly editor, and, you know, anyone who goes there from Infatuation, it's a sort of nationally lauded restaurant and has long lines during lunch because it's walk-in only. And then at dinner, it is truly
Impossible.
I think it's maybe not the absolute hardest restaurant to reserve, but only second to like an omakase that's ostensibly a members club.
Is this like hard for Philly or like hard for New York?
No, you'd be done too. Like you wouldn't be able to get in. Like,
Not even
Beyonce
me?
ticket.
I'm
20 seconds
Pretty important.
maximum when they release
it's over.
reservations. Like
You
it
can
just
just watch
can't
the
happen.
reservations just disappear.
So this is a big opening in Philadelphia, and I was really interested in how Sao, in addition to doing raw bar, has a couple of Mon dishes.
Right.
There's so much hype. There's so much expectation based on the sister restaurant. And I'm sure, Brian, you can relate. In New York, maybe there's an example of this when a restaurant opens from the team behind a hot place.
Happens every month.
What do you do? Do you go in a new direction? Is it going to ever live up to the expectations that are set? Maybe, maybe not.
I'm a youngest sibling. I'm getting like triggered just by my sister's great journalist. But yeah.
So you are, correct me if I'm wrong, Candace. The last time we talked about Sao, you were still in the process of writing the review and rating it. Is that still true?
Correct.
Okay, so fill us in. Where are you at in the process of the Sao review?
Did my second visit. I'm going to do another one because when somebody's branching out in a wilder way than the first restaurant, you want to make sure you get the vision and everything else is going on there. And I just like the bathroom. But also, we do the second visit, doing with my editor as well. And after that, we're going to come to a number that makes sense for both of us and go from there. I wrote the hit list caption, so it's my review.
Okay.
And yeah, it's going to be on BNR, so it's a turnaround that's pretty quick, which sometimes happens in BNR season, sometimes it doesn't. But for this one, with this popularity, it had to happen. So
it feels like the restaurant is fully formed enough to say, yeah, it's one of the best new restaurants of the year.
Yeah, my thing with BNR is that memorability is a huge thing with me.
Yeah.
Did I have something? Did I feel something that I didn't get that I can't get anywhere else?
Oh, I love the way you put that. You were talking about this as a BNR feeling, but I think you're saying it more specifically.
And so it's more or less, even though I've only been there 2 times, and by the time the review's done, it's going to be 3.
Yep.
I ate something, I felt something, I like the neon oyster
Very
sign.
yonic, vaginal. I love that. That's a girl restaurant if I've ever seen it.
Absolutely.
You're not allowed to go, Brian.
I'm curious, Brian. What are the trends you're seeing in New York about the restaurant scene so far?
In New York City, we got a lot of small places with small plates. That sounds kind of annoying, but it's not. Like, cause
It is annoying.
these are places that Hannah loves.
I love them.
For
Just
the record.
small plates?
Small plates.
I like small
You like
places.
stars
The
or-
essential thing is small place. I like a tiny little place.
Is it because of optionality, or you want a little bit of
I think
a small nugget? You don't want a whole...
I think the bigger a restaurant is, almost the worse it gets.
No, I could
Soul,
probably-
charm, soul, etc.
Yeah.
Almost always.
I agree with that for the most part, but
Yeah.
that's like kind of what's going on in New York City right now in terms of like really high profile restaurants and restaurants that happen to be at the top of our list of the best new restaurants. So examples are, and I don't know if you've been to any of these, but there's Suns that Hannah and I went to in Chinatown. It's a Korean, but like inventive Korean place where they serve a lot of banchan, and the banchan is all like, you
Love
know,
that.
this big, and so you're eating the tiniest plates in the city, and that's delicious. It's really charming, and it's tiny. And then another one nearby is Ha's Snack Bar. As you can tell from the name, it is a snack bar. They serve mostly snack-sized portions, but some bigger plates, and the place is tiny, like 20 seats tiny. Hannah's been there, I've been there, we both love it, everybody loves it, everybody loves
would
Ha's Snack Bar.
Yeah.
And that's sort of Vietnamese with French influence.
So you love this then? You're in Team Hannah. You like the small plate, small...
I do this year. It's just like
You
the
don't
people who are doing it real good. They're really small crews doing really personal food that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Why-
And they can do it because they're so small.
Why is this happening, you think?
I don't know. Some of them are former pop-ups. I know Bong and Ha's Snack
Yeah.
Bar are both former pop-ups.
And Sons, no?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, all three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all former pop-ups.
Yeah.
And so they just, I guess, found spaces and like modest spaces that they could work with going from pop-up to restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out pop-ups make really good restaurants.
Well, good
Sometimes.
pop-ups
Not
make
in,
good
not in
restaurants.
Philly every
This
time.
Not in Philly every time.
25 pop-ups
Yeah.
made real good restaurants.
There's, to me, I think the New York pop-up to brick and mortar pipeline is stronger.
Yeah.
The quality is better than in
Okay.
Philly.
There's a real touch to having a restaurant.
Yes.
It's a personal experience. And I think that there's a difference between, serving a couple of people or in line or whatever than actually having a full space. Babies, which is a B&R, was a pop-up.
Yeah.
And they pulled it off.
They pulled it off.
Then there's like Char.
Yeah, I
which
was going to
did
ask
not.
you. I think you should
Char,
talk about
the pizza
Char.
place?
Char's a really
Yeah.
great example.
Yeah,
of this,
I read a
I
review
think.
of Char.
I love your line in there. Great pizza does not a great restaurant make.
Yes.
And that's true.
So
Anyways.
Philly, not so much a pop-up town. Then what are the trends? Like what are the B&R trends or just the new restaurant trends this year? What's the landscape?
A lot of oyster bars, a lot of seafood,
Yeah.
a lot of bakeries, a lot of all-day cafes. We have Baby's Cafe. We have, out west just opened. It's another all-day cafe. Grid on Rice, which is a B&R.
Oh, I love Grid on Rice.
Another, it's an Indonesian all-day cafe, which is not something that's a lot. Like, we don't have a lot of those in Philly.
No.
And so there's a lot, which is way better than last year, because last year there was so many speakeasies. And it was like Narnia, like something behind a door. I was getting very frightened to open these doors. Like, it was horrible. But I think I'm fine with the all-day cafe. I'm fine with oysters. And so they kind of brought it a little bit. We had less pizza, like CD&J's was last year and Pizza Richmond was last year. And I'm on a pizza drought because of that. But ultimately, I forgive them because I like crudo. I like hamachi. So I'm fine with that.
And crudo and oysters, if you get good products,
Yeah.
you can kind of leave them alone.
Was this year a better year than last year, do you think?
Did you
For
hear about
restaurants?
the speakeasy? No. I would say it was similar because we have a high 9 on both our lists, everything else, and
What's the high 9 this year?
Emmett.
Emmett.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
explain Emmett to Brian.
Yeah, tell me about Emmett.
It's in Fishtown. Yeah, Fishtown. It's a tasting menu and a la carte. It's opened as tasting menu, then became a la carte maybe a month later, which is B&R. You have to when you revisit, Mediterranean dishes, heavy focus, and it can. There's a feeling that it could be fancy, but it's not fancy.
Yeah, they
It's
do like a
very-
tasting menu and a la carte, right?
Yeah, and so it's a bar, but nobody sits at it. There's not, there's not. I guess the excitability comes from what's in front of you instead of what's in the room itself. It was great to just say, okay, I'm going to go here, and you have no preconceived notions, which Sometimes you do go to a restaurant and you're like, okay, I know who's the owner. I've been to the other restaurant they have, things like that. But this was kind of just like they had to pop up a little bit, if you recall.
Oh yeah, maybe some testers around the city. Basically.
But it was really like I walked in with no notion of anything, and I had a really good meal.
It's definitely like Philadelphian in that way.
A lot of our higher rated restaurants, whether it's Mon, whether it's Betsy or whatever, like these are in small, just regular be yourself spaces where you're not necessarily like gussied up, like you're not red carpet ready.
No one's too cool for school.
Yeah.
Oh,
which is
we're
really
pretty casual
lovely.
in New York too.
I mean, you look very casual. You're right.
This is my casual tuxedo.
That's your
my
Tuesday outfit.
Day tuxedo, actually.
Want to see the full BNR list? Check out theinfatuation.com and let us know your favorites at Infatuation on Instagram and at theinfatuation on TikTok.
So, Candice, one of the reasons we were really excited to have you here was to give our readers some insight into like the BTS behind the process of reviewing restaurants and putting together the list of the best new restaurants. Does that seem like something you could help us do?
If only I had a job centered around it would be, But
I think I can help out as well.
That was very cutesy.
I think I can help out as well, actually, with this one.
Okay.
we've all done
So we got a bunch of reader questions. We asked our readers for questions, and then they submitted them. We got a ton, so we got a lot of ground to cover. Let's
Bring
get
them on.
started.
I'm ready. I have no fear, Maximus.
All right. One question our readers want to know, how does a restaurant get considered for the BNR list? Is it a collective discussion or is it based on one person's opinions?
Yeah, so a restaurant gets considered because they have the rating. The number determines it's going to make the list or not. In Philly, we have me and Alice, my editor. And once we decide on the number, the cutoff for that year, there are years where you have a bunch of 9s, and that's great. And so then you're not going to have a bunch of lower 8s, on that list. But once you decide that cutoff number, then you kind of do know what's going on. And how that happens is because we do the openings to hit list to BNR stream, which is we have an openings guide. We go to those restaurants. We put them on the hit list if we like them a lot. And that's more like, hit list is more kind of, I would feel like it's more like The Bachelor or Bachelorette. Like when you give a rose, in the early days they give a rose. They're probably just like, you're giving roses because like, oh, that person has a nice smile. Like they're not the first rose ceremony thinking like, this is marriage material.
Oh,
I
like what you're doing.
So situationally, like that, you might go to a restaurant and you're like, oh, I can see myself here for a happy hour, or they have a great burger.
Yeah.
And those emerge on the hit list, right?
Yeah.
Hit list isn't necessarily a BNR make, right?
No.
Because you have to have that something that's saying, if I sit my mom, my friend, my Hannah to that restaurant, no matter what, they're going to have a good time. They're going to see, what I see. And that's not just a hit list place.
My friend has this incredible thing she says about crushes, which is every crush comes to a fork in the road. You either learn more about that person and the crush dissipates, or you fall in love with them. And I think of the pipeline that you're describing as like hit list, you're crushing, and then when comes time to learn more about them, you have to decide which direction you're going.
Absolutely. That's just kind of how the review process works, too.
Yeah.
The first 2 visits, you're feeling them out. The third visit, you know what the place is. And maybe you're in love.
Okay, Candice, next reader question.
Yes.
How many times do you go to a restaurant before you give it a rating?
Around 2 or 3. I think sometimes you go to a restaurant, you kind of know, oh, this place is good or this place is not good.
Yeah.
And then if you found a reason, like Picnic is a great example of this in Philly. I found a reason where I like the cocktails. I like some of the mains early in. I hated the experience the first visit.
Yeah.
But there was a reason. There was a reason to go back. And so for that, they required 3 visits because the previous visits I had to flesh it out. But usually 2 to 3 times kind of lets you know. And spaced out, which is important. You're not going to go back there a week later. It's the same menu. But you space it out and you kind of hope that it's as good as the last thing. Why? Because I'm going to change my micro or my review I already wrote. And that would be horrible.
And you order more of the menu because part of the job is you got to try pretty much everything.
Yeah, the order is completely different than second visit and third visit. You need one. Like, it's completely all the fringe things you didn't grab, something like that.
Right.
Or the first visit's all hot button dishes, stuff like that. You're just kind of like,
When you go to a restaurant, just any restaurant, this is a reader question that we got. What is your rating process?
Well, for starters, we do have a rubric that kind of gives us a little like breadcrumbs to grandmom's house type deal.
Yeah.
5, something's wrong here. 6 is kind of like, it's a little wonky. 7 is like a recommendable scenario. 8 is you cross town for it. 9 is really, great setup, forget it, like it's a great place. And so really, when I walk into a restaurant, I'm thinking about that to get to, it's the primary number, it's a 6, it's a 7. How do I get to 7.5, 7.8, 7.9, or in between is actually the harder part for me. Especially when you're looking at it, like for Philly, we have a lot of Italian restaurants. If you're a new Italian restaurant, you're going up against the landscape of what Italian dining is in the city.
Yeah.
So it just can't be like my grandma's meatballs and some burrito pasta. It has to be pretty exceptional for you to get an 8 or a 9 for Italian in like my city. Things like that. So I'm thinking about the rubric, but also thinking about how does it fit in that cuisine in this city?
Yeah.
Because if I can really like a new place, like Babies earlier, but like there's a lot of Filipino in Philadelphia. There's a lot of Cambodian in Philadelphia. Is it, if I give it an 8, how does it compare to the other 8s on the site? Or how does it compare to the other 8.5s or everything else? So I'm definitely considering that kind of stuff too. I don't know if you guys do the same or not.
I compare ratings a lot,
Yeah.
but it's obviously difficult because not all places are the same. Even if it's Italian, one might be inspired by Emilia Romagna, and another one is, Southern Italy. But I get what you're saying, and I do that for every rating. Like, I'll just... When I get to the 7s, right, I'll be like, okay, so I know this is mid-7s. And then I look at all the other mid-7s because New York has so many ratings you can just compare for days. And that's really, really helpful.
I used to think about when I was rating restaurants in New York, my grumpiest friend, like the absolute...
Isn't that just Bryan?
That's me.
It was kind of Bryan. I mean, now it's not
I wasn't your
Bryan.
grumpiest friend.
You're like, you've actually gotten less grumpy.
Oh,
which
thank
is
you.
so nice. You're happier now.
Still pretty grumpy.
Okay,
Go
yeah.
on.
And I was like, would this person find happiness at this restaurant? I don't know if that's a good barometer.
That's interesting.
But I'm like, my hardest to please friend would come here, and what would they think? Not that we should be rating based on grumpy people.
I'll give that a shot. I'll try that
I
out.
don't know. Just a thought exercise.
Try that, actually.
Do you have any little tricks for when it comes to ratings?
I do try to temper myself when I have like one great thing because I can tend to overrate if I just follow this like one. Like
I see what you mean.
I went to Ticini, right, which is going to be B&R.
Yeah.
And I had this like really great chicken lollipop. Like,
Oh,
did you have
I
that?
didn't get those. I was
Oh my
really
god! Like
wanted it,
I'm
and Aaron
shaking.
was like,
I'm shaking.
"We're
It's
not
so
getting
good.
a chicken lollipop.
I'm there with my editor. I'm there with Zach, and they're talking about like vacation plans.
Sure.
And nobody had the chicken yet, right?
Face down in that.
So I
chicken
just
lollipop.
grabbed the chicken, and they're talking, and I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about, but this is some good chicken, and y'all need to get into this because it only came in orders of 3, and I was like, I want to eat your chicken.
Sure.
I think that might be the best chicken I had all year.
I think that, like, yes, we all have our own preferences, but we try to be aware of our preferences and our biases, right?
Yeah, how do you guys
So
handle that?
they're always going to creep in.
Yeah.
It's inevitable, but we try to keep them in check.
Right.
And we just try to kind of be aware of what it is we are biased toward.
What do you guys think you're biased towards?
I like casual things. Fine dining, not so much for me.
Yeah.
What about you, Candice?
Yeah, I'm very like low lift. I like a little just straight up
A
dive
neighborhood
bar,
spot, yeah.
my go-to spot, my go-to order, stuff like that. So
A dive bar queen in our midst.
I think that we've just all eaten out so much across the cities and found so much good, relatively inexpensive food that now it's really hard to impress us. Am I making us sound like snobs? No. We were not as easily impressed by these fine dining places that supposedly have incredible food, but we've had incredible food for $5.
I saw multiple questions in our Instagram DMs when we asked for questions. People want to know, do we take favors from PR companies? Are we incentivized in any way to rate restaurants highly?
We do not, and I'm funny in my head because I'm kind of like PR people. You can just stop inviting me to like your birthday parties.
Save our emails.
I mean, maybe if you have Dua Lipa tickets, sure, but like they keep inviting me. I can't come.
Yeah.
I cannot come.
Yeah.
So no, we don't do the PR thing. We're always going to give an honest take. It's going to be just straight like, how was it like to sit in that restaurant and experience it?
If a place is really hyped up by the internet, by a friend, by a fellow restaurant writer, does that impact the way you think about a place and how you write about it and how you rate it?
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. I don't think I like my friends. I don't like whoever else you just listed,
Sure.
but they don't eat as much as we do.
Yes.
And so they don't know that the food scene in that city, or if it's a new Italian place or a burger place, they have not eaten, thankfully for their bodies, as many burgers as us.
Yeah.
The buzz kind of does say, I need to get there sooner. I need to get in on site sooner. I need to, get an honest take sooner. But it's not informing that honest take at all now.
At first, hype can get you hyped on a restaurant. So I just reviewed I Cavallini. Well, I mean, a little while ago, right? And it's going to be on our list of the best new restaurants in New York City. I Cavallini in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, from the team behind the Four Horsemen. The Four Horsemen is just like the most famous wine bar in New York City, right?
Ooh.
Co-founded by James Murphy. I don't know if you're an LCD Sound System fan.
Yeah.
I did see the Murph at Cavallini one day. Just
course.
walk on in. But it is a very hyped restaurant, this sequel. I Cavallini. So at first, yeah, I wouldn't say the hype affected me, but I did have really high expectations. And I also had eaten a lot of the chef's food before. So when that's the case, I think on a first visit, at least, you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. If there is anything you aren't entirely in love with, well, you're like, well, I've had so much of this chef's food at the Four Horsemen, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And the second visit and the third visit, you stop doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You the hype washes away, and you're like, "What am I doing?" And you're just honest with yourself. And I did give I Cavallini a really high rating. I do love it, but it's not as high as the Four Horsemen,
Got it.
and it's not as high as a lot of other people were expecting. An 8.5 is the rating.
Sibling restaurants are hard, I feel like. It's very rare, like we just talked about, that a sibling restaurant's got a higher rating than the first restaurant.
That would be a fun experiment to look at.
Yeah.
What
do you think
restaurant?
about
What sibling restaurants have higher ratings than their eldest siblings?
It's The Godfather, too.
Last question, you two.
Mm-hmm.
What's one thing you want listeners, watchers, readers, restaurant people to know about the way you work, the way you do your job?
The way I rate?
Yeah, or anything.
I will say, like, for the way I rate, or generally, like, no rating is set in stone. I think that there's a belief that we give a number and we just, like, set it and forget it, or a place can get better or it can't, unfortunately get worse.
Sure.
But we do go back, we do revisit. And, like, I've changed ratings. I don't know you guys, I've changed ratings a few times where it's kind of like things. I've actually had a situation where a restaurant, I think they read my review and changed everything about the restaurant, which was weird to have a...
Oh my God, which place?
It was Picnic. Remember I said I didn't like the tablets, I didn't like this, I didn't like this.
Yeah.
Come back, it's all gone.
It was either because of you or you were so right.
I do think people should know, like, we revisit, numbers evolve.
I have so many things, actually. Just, I'll try to get through them really quickly.
Okay.
So things I just wish more people knew about the Infatuation process in general.
Yeah.
Of course, we pay for all the food ourselves, right? We aren't really involved with PR people unless we're just trying to get some information from them. We don't go to any openings, right? We don't accept any invites. We go under aliases. And I feel like so many people, after years of saying this, still don't really know that.
I know.
We are unbiased when it comes to, like, writing about the chefs. We're not friends with chefs and restaurants, the writers. We go in, we get out. Like, we are not buddying up with chefs,
Yeah.
which I think is sometimes what people think. And then when we do throw restaurants on the list of the best new restaurants, these are restaurants we actually love. If we don't actually love them, they're not going on the list. If we're not actually excited about them.
You're not getting participation trophies out.
Brian, we're all dressed up, nowhere to go. At least we should have some champagne. Maybe hand out some
Big fan of
awards.
that.
Can we make
with
that happen?
Candis?
Yeah.
Let's do it. It's award time.
Award season.
Bring in the champagne. If you're liking this episode, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe to Restaurant People on YouTube and all of your preferred podcast platforms so you never miss an episode. If you're not watching, we each have a beautiful flute of champagne in our glasses. And I just want to say congratulations, guys, on your BNR work this year. You went to so many restaurants and you probably had so much gas and you did it.
So a lot of Toms, a lot of Pepsi,
Lot of times.
yes.
And I'm really proud of you. So cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Clink.
Nobody's going to say Santé after you make me speak French? Cool.
Santé.
Santé.
I feel like a nerd saying that. So we have our champagne. Let's do some awards. We're going to hand out some awards. They're not your typical awards.
But they are very serious.
They're serious.
and
Bigger than the
Important.
Oscars, bigger than the Grammys.
Bigger.
For
I
sure.
don't
They
even
wish
know what
they could
those
be
things
us.
are. I don't know what the words
They
you
wish they
said.
can be us. No, they'll never be us.
Yeah.
And I want you to take them seriously. I also want to get through a bunch of them. So lightning round.
Lightning
Okay.
round.
All right. First one. let's start small here. Best value at a restaurant, a new restaurant in 2025.
Best value. I'm going with Juicy Patties. It is a Jamaican patty chain from Jamaica. The first, I think, well, at least the first Brooklyn location popped up this year. We went there. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, on the way to
We had a pre-dinner dinner there.
Really, really good.
Delicious. I don't know if they're especially cheap in terms of patties, but they're not super expensive, and they were actually delicious.
Less
Top
than
5
$10.
patties for me in New York City. Yeah,
I think
less than $10
for sure.
Excellent value.
And really good. I actually could have gone home after that.
Yeah.
It was great.
Dara, Midtown Village,
Nice.
Thai place. They have a $15 lunch menu item.
Yeah.
You can get 2 starters, a big main that's like, you can have literally that, like fried rice or curry chicken later, lunch and dinner. And yeah, like 2 starters, 1 large main, set it, forget it. Like,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm going with medium rare, which is a chain.
I thought about
that
doing
just
that.
Opened.
Is that a steak chain?
It's a steak chain.
Frites chain, steak.
Oh, we
frites
have
chain.
one.
Is it what, 25, maybe $30, something
And
like
it's
that?
endless.
And you get a second round of steak and French fries.
Not just second. You can get as many as you
I
want.
didn't realize
Steak
that.
and
You can
French
also-
fries or
Yeah.
just French fries?
No, steak and French fries.
Oh,
You can
that's
also
big.
take an order
That's big.
home.
Oh, really?
So like you can just be like, you know what, I hit the wall, the beef wall, and tell the guy, can you take me, or a person that
Yeah.
can you wrap you up, want to go, and they'll do it
Oh,
with
it
sauce.
is
With
easy.
sauce.
It is. You feel like you're getting away with something.
Yes.
At that restaurant.
How do you think they can do that? Do you think it's like lab-grown meat?
I don't want to know. Drink of the year, personal drink of the year, or just trendy drink of the year.
Well, interpret it how you will.
Yeah,
I
what
was,
do you
I was
got?
thinking
I'm gonna
trendy
drink
drink
as I
of the
think
year,
it is.
Okay.
but if you have a personal drink of the year, you want to call out.
So not Blue Moon and Martinelli's, no. Negronis. Negronis have been on a lot of menus, and I love them.
Always perfect.
Yeah, so
Textbook perfect drink. Negroni variation. You cannot open a new restaurant and not have a Negroni variation on that menu.
yeah.
I'm going Michelada.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right.
Tons of new places in New York City serving great Micheladas this year. Even when they're not that great, they're still pretty good.
I'm going elaborate daytime drinks with foam. We're gonna do one mean one and one just pure love.
Okay.
Worst meal of the year.
Revival barbecue. I think you already know this.
I haven't been there.
A deep fried deviled egg, and it was the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
I mean, it could be.
And I was
good,
lost
but
in the
maybe
ocean
not
that time.
that.
It was like gooey, like it was a hard deep fried deviled egg.
I don't really have a good answer for this one, but I'll give you an answer, right? We did a chocolate chip cookie tasting in New York City, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody brought a bunch of chocolate chip cookies from around town, and we did a blind tasting, and hands down, the worst two were Costco and Crumble. So that was probably my worst dining experience of the year. They were terrible, like almost inedible. Crumble, I expected it from you. Even from the shop, the cookies actually are pretty decent. They do not age well.
Oh.
Costco, I was surprised by.
I'm going with Wonder, which is sort of it's sort of
Yeah.
about, but it's just the truth.
Oh, yes. we
Wonder
have
was
discussed
horrible.
Wonder
Specifically the
on this
one at
podcast
Broad and
before.
Washington, but I'm sure all of them are bad.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go out on a limb and say that. The weirdest corn kernels. The longest corn kernels, long as your toenails. Really crazy.
How long are your toenails?
Actually, I mean, I'm talking your big boy.
Okay, I got you.
It was extraordinary. Don't make me show my toes on camera. All right, let's end with something I think we're good at, actually. Most underrated restaurant. What do you got?
I have bar. Stick with me. I've got Bar Kabawa.
Oh!
They serve food. Yeah, they're a bar, but they serve food. And honestly, like so many restaurants nowadays are called bar blank, like fill in the blank.
Sure.
Right? So you can call this place a restaurant because they do serve food. It's attached to Kabawa in the East Village, which is the main tasting menu place. Right?
Yeah.
But I kind of prefer Bar Kabawa. I like them both.
I'm gonna do a griddle and rice.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I love it. Great
Two or
smoothies.
We're twins.
Love the pancakes. The smashed chicken with the spice on it.
Yeah.
Like, and I can just see myself sitting there all day. Like, good
100%.
baked goods, low key.
Also, nicest people in the world. Candice, what would we do without you?
Have more champagne to drink, I
Oh,
guess.
well, that, when you put it like that.
So true.
Get
Can I have the rest of that, actually? Don't drink it.
Thank you for having me. And I love the look. I feel in the dress, but you know what?
I know. We could have told you.
Sorry, we didn't tell you about the dress
That
code.
was a setup.
That was our bad.
It was a Philly setup. But I
We're
love it.
technically bad people. Our best new restaurant lists are out right now in cities all across the country. If you want to check them out, go to theinfatuation.com and find your city.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Bryan.
We will catch you next time. This was Restaurant People, a show from Infatuation.